Boyo Soy, the man, goddamn T Hayes. Tyler, week 4 NFL. Well, not quite in the books. We got a game going on right now, but I don't know. In my opinion, a pretty weird NFL season so far. Weeks 1 and 2 in my book were kind of lackluster. This past week, most recent week, week 4, I just felt like a lot of games weren't as high scoring, with a couple of exceptions and a lot of new faces in the NFL, quarterbacks getting hurt, second and third string guys stepping up. We had, Giants, which we'll get into, reverted to a wildcat, formation when their two quarterbacks got injured. So, what did you make of it?
Yeah, Austin, first and foremost, happy National Boyfriend Day to my boyfriend, Austin, my
Oh,
co-host on the No Look podcast. I
complete
didn't
it.
get I didn't get a am I on this side?
No, other side.
Other side.
There you go. Nice. Wait, a little bit to your left, I think. Other way.
Other way?
Other way. So, right there.
Ah!
Screenshot. Got it. Nice.
um, so did get a post on Instagram, so have to shout out on Twitch. That'll do. Austin, yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of weird games this past weekend, but we're into that part of the season where there's a lot of injuries, a lot of people
Mm.
going down, season ending, few weeks, so on and so forth. And I feel like the list continues to grow. So we're gonna see a lot of weird kind of players. At starting positions, weird games, weird scores, games like the Packers and Patriots where it was like, what the fuck is going on? You got third string quarterback and we're going into OT.
Mm.
But we'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, this is the time though, Austin, when it starts getting interesting. It's
Yeah.
when boys become men.
It's not quite the witching hour, I don't think, of the NFL season, but
It's like the
everyone's kind of
pre-witching.
we're kind of starting to figure out which teams are legit, which teams are frauds. Um, Eagles move on to 4-0, which we'll get into. Some other teams 3-1. The Bills get back on track, but I think every team is kind of starting to take form. Obviously, with exceptions to injuries, which seems like there's been a lot this season. But let's get into it. Do you want me to share the screen with
Yes,
you?
yes.
Okay.
I want to see my work.
I didn't know if you wanted to like pull it up on your phone so you could still see me or not.
Well, I can still see you.
Not when I
Well,
share the
maybe
screen.
not. Yeah, you're right. No, I can still see you right there.
Oh, okay. That's
We're
cool.
Gucci.
All right. So here we go. Week 4 roundup. No Look Podcast. ACWeezy. Ahaha. Big Master T, aka the Man Goddamn, aka Insane Games TV Bot 69.
AKA Ankle Breaker 12.
Okay. Hurricane Haze. um, First game, I believe this was Tyler's. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't catch any of this game.
Yeah,
I
and
was snoozing.
that's why I picked this game because I knew Austin wasn't gonna wake up at 6:30 in the morning. The sun's probably not even out at 6:30 over there, right?
Might be starting to creep up. I don't
Yeah.
know that but the definitely in a few weeks when the clocks go back, which I thought we approved no more of
I
daylight
think it's next
savings.
year,
All right. Well, I
maybe. I'm
can't
not
come
sure.
soon enough.
Yeah. Also, that has to be the weirdest feeling, it being dark out and also the morning and football's on TV.
Yeah.
Like it
I'm
being
still
dark out, you did a whole day of work or a whole day of whatever, and
yeah.
football's on, different.
Well, this Sunday is going to be interesting because I got TwitchCon with the after party on Saturday, and then the Packers are playing the
They're in London.
Giants
Oh
in London.
shit!
So
So you're tuning into that?
I might have to tough through it unless I just pull an all nighter. I don't know. TPD.
I I mean, if I were you, I would pull an all-nighter, but that's just me. Well, let's get into NFC North action. Vikings over the Saints, 28-25. Austin, the Vikings are the most, or how I say it, the okayest team in the league.
Okay.
By far the most mid. Uh, I feel like they play to their opponents. I feel like I said that on a past show in regards to the Vikings, but they're okay. I mean, and a lot of that has to do with Kirk Cousins. I feel like they have a lot of the talent there with Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Thielen. Defensively, they're pretty sound too. But I feel like Kirk Cousins is really the catalyst to why the Vikings are just okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'm the Vikings, I got a hot young coach and Kevin O'Connell who's going to be probably the future of this organization. I might just cut the strings and get rid of Kirk Cousins after this year and go after my quarterback in the draft or wherever. Because I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to take this team that they have right now with probably some of the best wide receiver core, I guess you could say, in the league, and really take it up to the next notch. And lastly, Saints lack flair without Thomas Kamara, even Sean Payton. And what I mean by that is I feel like this team is definitely different, obviously, with having a different coach, as most teams are going to be. But I feel like without Sean Payton, they have almost different uses for different players, i.e. Taysom Hill. Like, the guy is at tight end, yeah, that's great, but he's also not lining up in quarterback like he did in the past, or running back. He's not like that utility knife player. They are finding Chris Olave, which is a positive, getting the rookie involved. But, the Saints are they're going through that point in the season where they're banged up, and
Hmm.
especially with, their starters,
Well,
their
no,
big
Jameis too, right? It wasn't Andy
no
Dalton starting.
no Jameis, Andy Dalton starting. I saw a meme that was absolutely hilarious.
Mm.
It said that the NFL is proposing to expand to London, and we're going to show them Andy Dalton as the starting quarterback to the Saints. That's going to gain viewership.
Yeah, I mean Dalton, I definitely like his look now. He looks a little bit more distinguished with he's got the scruff going on, nice full head of hair. But yeah, without those guys, I mean, you got what arguably the top three players on offense not playing, and they
Yeah.
still lose. A nail biter.
Well,
They had did they have a chance to go up or a chance to tie it or something
a
with a
chance
double
to tie
doink.
it. Missed the field goal. I think it was like a 61 yarder, but also had a phantom pass interference call on Marshawn Lattimore that gave the Vikings the lead in the fourth quarter. So they kind of got. I would say the Vikings kind of got away with that. Maybe shouldn't have been called, and then the Saints had to come down the field and kick a 61 yarder, which I thought Will Lutz would have made, but I guess the air is different in London.
Yeah, you'd think playing in a soccer stadium it would favor the kickers, but I guess not.
Yeah. Well, they're not in a dome anymore.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. Saints come marching in, they come marching out with a loss. Uh, Next up, this is my game. We got the Falcons 23, Browns 20. I put without Deshaun Watson, the Browns rubbed me the wrong way. A little bit of a play on words there, Tyler, obviously. But the Browns. Obviously, like I don't hate Brissett. He's not the guy. I think they should have utilized Cooper a lot more in this game. Chubb has been doing his thing, as Tyler knows, with him on his fantasy team now, courtesy of your boy Yo Soy.
Christmas came early.
Yeah, I just the defense struggled. I don't. Garrett didn't play in this one, I don't think, right?
No, he was out.
So you can definitely miss his presence. And I just had the Falcons are fun, Tyler. I've been very open and repetitive in saying this. They have nothing to lose. They're just going out there having fun with it. They're doing some different stuff. I saw Pitts line up in the backfield. Algier, I think you pronounce his last name. He had either a nice run or a catch and run out of the backfield. And Terrell, he's still a solid cornerback for them on the defensive side of the ball. No pressure, right? It's always the fun ones, right? The turnaround 3-point shot that's like, okay, you miss it, no pressure, but if you make it, it's like, okay, that feels good. I could do this 10 out of 10 times. Falcons, showing a
They're
little bit of
frisky.
poise. Yeah, they're frisky. That's a good word to describe them. I don't, expect much more than, I don't know. I mean, maybe they could be a game above 500 now, right? Because we have a uneven number of games being played. I think they play well at home. Um, not much from this one, Tyler. Just a
I
couple of
mean,
bad teams, and one team played a little bit less worse than the other.
I think the biggest thing is that the Falcons, what keeps them in is their defense. Their defense is a really good run defense. And they keep the Falcons into games most of the time. That's why a lot of the games that the Falcons have played this season have been pretty close. So,
Mm-hmm.
what's the next game that we got?
I was just checking as I see you looking up at the TV. I'm checking my fantasy matchup, but I don't think I'm gonna.
Kittle. They said they said Kittle scored, but I'm looking at the replay and the foot was out.
Well, I don't know. It says
Yep,
scored on
out.
the app, but anyways,
No, they're reviewing it. His second foot didn't get in.
well, fuck me then. Next game we got Cowboys 25, Commanders 10. Cooper
Yeah,
Rush, what do we think?
I mean, is it officially Cooper Rush's team? That the question mark. They're saying Dak Prescott pushing to come back week 5. I think they got Philly this week. So
Mm.
he's trying to come back a little bit sooner than expected. But Austin, in history of sports, they always do this. They rush back the superstar. I know they're paying him a shitload of money, but I also think I'm a firm believer of riding with the hot hand. I've seen when teams do that, they end up being more successful rather than having a guy come back who's maybe a little bit rusty. Confirm while I'm talking, are they actually facing the Eagles? I think that's what I saw.
Oh,
Um,
look, it sounds right.
I think it's right. But Cooper Rush, he's playing very well. I mean,
Rams next week, then Philly.
oh, Rams, okay. Even worse. I mean, you're facing the Rams, who's a tough team.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty good defensively. I think, maybe sitting him out another week or two, depending on the result of next week's game. Ride the hot hand. I mean, Cooper Rush, when he's in the game, CeeDee Lamb averages 95 yards a game or
Mm.
somewhere around that. That's pretty impressive for a backup quarterback. And then Wentz might be the best, worst quarterback in the league. Just like I said with the last team, which was the Vikings, I think the same goes with the Commanders. I think Wentz needs to be relegated to a bona fide backup quarterback in this league because he's not cutting it. I mean, he's got literally everyone around him that can make him successful with Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick's playing well. I mean, they got players, but Wentz is definitely the key denominator of why they are not winning. And he's not it. So just like the Vikings, I think the Commanders need to consider, finding their quarterback either in the draft or, in free agency that's younger or trade for one. I don't know. Maybe Jimmy
Mm.
G. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like if you're the Cowboys, I feel like you almost have to keep Cooper Rush in because the guy's undefeated, and when he starts games, like okay, let's test that out. Let's keep going until you lose. Where on the flip side, if you're Cooper Rush, you don't want to have to start the rest of the season until you lose because then that stat line kind of goes to waste most likely. But yeah, I agree with you as well about Wentz. He's I don't know. Maybe I don't know if he's the worst starter in the league right now, but he could definitely be the best backup. So he's just got to find his spot. Next game we got Seahawks 48, Lions 45. As Tyler put the picture in there, you can see DK on the cart. No, he was not injured. He just had to, you know, add to his movements in the game. He's making jukes and cuts. Well, guess what? He had to make a bowel movement. He said, and I like that he had fun with it, and he was kind of had some humility. He was like, yeah, the clench walk wouldn't have worked. I had to hop on the cart to make it to the bathroom. I just want to know, Tyler, how far did they carry him in to the bathroom or on the cart? Like, how close to the bathroom did he get? Did they have to carry him, or did he walk under his own power to the bathroom? I just, kind of interested in that.
I mean,
Uh,
luckily for DK, real quick, not wearing white pants, they didn't do the
hmm,
all white. So, I mean, even if he did do a little doo doo,
yeah.
not the end of the world.
Yeah, you hear of guys saying, they notoriously pee their pants during the game, which, it's kind of gross to think about, especially if it's like an offensive guy and you're going out there attacking them and you're like, oh, what's that wet? Homeboy's sweating like crazy. But no, it's a nice little, blotch of urine running down his leg. The other note I had, Lions defense is dog water. I mean, Tyler, I don't know how many times a team can put up 40 plus points and lose. Lions have found a way to do that twice so far this season. They didn't have Swift, they didn't have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously, that hurts them on the offensive side of the ball, but they just, Dan Campbell, he talks about grit and, he kind of brings that old school tough D mentality to the locker room. They got to find a way to step up on defense. Like, okay, what was it? The Eagles week 1, it's like, yeah, they're a good team. They got Hurts and all these guys on offense, but the Seahawks, Geno Smith, they made him look like I don't know, prime Mike Vick out there just slinging the ball. DK, went for like 150. Penny had the greatest game of his career just sitting on my bench, so
And mine.
you love to see that, but not too many takeaways. Like just
I
two
mean,
two bad teams, and much like the uh Falcons Browns game, like the team that sucked the less came out on top.
yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna reiterate this over and over again until it actually happens. Dan Campbell getting fired is going to be one of the saddest days of my life because this
Yeah.
guy is he tries so damn hard and his team finds ways to make it really close but still lose. It's sad.
hmm I know. Yeah, he's fun television. He's a nice guy. You like to root for him, but I don't know. I mean, how many? What is this? A second or third year?
I think it's his second, if I had to guess.
So you probably give him one more chance, try to get some more guys in the draft. If they
Definitely need a
most likely get a
quarterback.
top 10 pick. Yeah, golf. I'd say golf. As I'm thinking, is Wentz the worst quarterback in the league? I'd probably put golf ahead of Wentz, but definitely in the lower five. I'd say bottom five.
Yeah. I mean, he had a stellar game. It just wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Next game we got AFC South rivals Titans 24, Colts 17. As the Titans escape at in Indianapolis, excuse me. My key takeaways for this game: Titans just need Derrick Henry to rush for 100+ yards in every game for the rest of the season to stay relevant because when he does, they win games. This game, last game against the Raiders last week, and now they've won 2 games. I mean, they really need to focus on him. I feel like week 1 and 2, they kind of got away from, giving the most important player on their team the ball. And he's also doing a lot more out of the backfield with receiving. I feel like he hadn't done that in years past as much as he has. But they don't have A.J. Brown like they did last year. They don't have, they got young guys out there with Traylon Burks and, Robert Woods who, comes over and learns a new offense. So they really need to get him the ball and focus on Derrick Henry first, and then the rest of it will come.
hmm
I feel like this is a common theme, Austin, with tonight and the losers that I have, but the Colts, this is the number one team that really needs to invest in a long-term quarterback because I don't know how Colts fans do it with these rental QBs that they've been doing year in and year out, but
hmm
Matt Ryan is doing way worse than Carson Wentz and also Phillip Rivers. I mean, this team is probably the worst they've had in years. And it's sad because, now it's affecting Jonathan Taylor, who some would say is the best running back in the league. And, it's really affecting the offense. I don't know. They have a decent defense, I feel like. They got some good players. Shaquille Leonard is finally back and healthy. But, with Ryan at quarterback, it was a great experiment. But this rental QB shit needs to stop if I'm a Colts fan.
Yeah, like you said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like they tried it with Philip Rivers, they tried it with Wentz. I was like, oh, what should we do? Should we draft a young guy, or I don't know. I know they have like Ellinger. He's looked subpar when he's been in the game, but like, no, let's go out. Let's get another guy who's on the, you know, last couple holes. I won't even say back nine of his career. Last couple holes, and like you said, yeah, Pittman's a stud. Jonathan Taylor's a stud. Those guys were just non-existent in this game, and yeah, just like you said too about Henry, like 100+ yards. If he gets that, I think they can win. But it starts with just getting him more carries. So,
Yeah.
they saw the one nice play they had where Robert Woods scored. Everyone sold out on the run. They had at like the 1 or 2 yard line. Everyone loaded the box, and then Woods was just free in the back of the end zone, easy touchdown.
No, I mean the game is so much different when you establish the run early and often. I mean,
hmm
it's just it changes everything. And
Oh yeah,
Titans getting back to that, they kind of look like the Titans.
yeah, no, for sure. And that division, obviously one of the weaker divisions in the NFL, like wide open right now. Either of those teams we just talked about could still win it. I think I like the Titans a little bit better. Jags, we'll see what they can do. Next game, Giants 20, Bears 12. I got Saquon Barkley can do it all. He's running the ball. He's catching the ball. He's what?
Former Penn State great.
Yeah. You gotta make it an acronym. FPSG.
I like it. FPSG.
Tyler's FPSG stamp. Yeah, you see Jones went out with an injury. Tyrod came in, he got hurt. So for a little bit, Saquon was running quarterback out of the Wildcat, and they're moving the ball. They did what they had to do. They ran some clock. They picked up a couple first downs, and in the end, it ended up winning the football game. Bears could not pass the football. I mean, they got Mooney. They have a good rushing attack. I think Khalil Herbert should be the guy for them for the rest of the season. I feel like he's been productive enough. Even in this game, like he didn't score a touchdown, but I think he was averaging like 4+ yards a carry, and he was being productive with the opportunities he had. You know, Fields still young, still improving. He doesn't have the best receiving core and offense per se around him, but yeah, Bears just still the Bears right now. Not much else to say about them.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see Saquon back and healthy. I feel like it's the league has been lacking without a lot of these guys that have been injured for multiple seasons. And it's good to see some parity. And Saquon's fucking nasty, and
Yeah.
also by far the best legs in the NFL.
Oh
I know you
yeah.
might say AJ Dillon, but I mean Saquon's got the best legs, hands down.
They're a little more sculpted, I'll say Saquon's are.
I
AJ, he's
agree.
just got two fucking large masses connected to his upper kneecap. Kneecap.
Uh, Kneecap.
Kneecap.
Next game, Eagles 29, Jaguars 21 in the Doug Peterson revenge game of the week. But they couldn't get it done. The word of the day, Austin, is frisky. Eagles are frisky, but the Jaguars, I feel like, are even friskier.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is, I mean, the Eagles, we expected them to be good this year. Jalen Hurts had a lot to prove. They got A.J. Brown. They have all these weapons, Goddard, Smith. Now Sanders is in the backfield. Another FPSG.
FPSG.
I have to think about that acronym. FPSG, and I'll give them that title now, having two tutters in the game. But the Jaguars are also very frisky themselves. I mean, they're making a name for themselves. They're third in playoff contention. I know it's only week 4, but they're already looking at it. They're the 3 seed, obviously being out of a weak AFC South, but that's still impressive. They're playing really well. They signed a lot of players: Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram,
Hmm.
Foley Sad, Olakun. He's a defensive
How are you
fucking
gonna try to say that?
yeah, he's a fucking defensive nightmare. He's really good at stopping the run. So they have a lot of great weapons, and it's nice to see that they're doing well. And I think a lot of that goes with Doug Peterson. This was an exciting game. I enjoyed watching this on my phone. It was rainy. It was interesting. But I think the Jaguars will probably bounce back from this game. But the
Hmm.
Eagles, only undefeated team in the league now. I guess we're gonna see where they go from here.
Yeah, no, like you said, the weather was terrible. Trevor Lawrence, 4 fumbles. I think he's like the only person to do that in the Super Bowl era. And they still only lose by 8 points. So it's like if he cuts those in half, right? Who knows what the outcome is? But James Robinson, they didn't really get him involved that much. Yeah, Jaguars, they're not getting blown out. They lost a close one week 1, and now to the arguably the best team in the NFL right now. Single possession game, so keep my eyes on them. Next game, Jets 24, Steelers 20. Wilson shows promise. Didn't really have the best game, but that's probably best case scenario for him to come back off his injury and in his first game back get a win. The Steelers had to be the team to do it against. Clearly they missed Big Ben. Um, Trubinsky goes down. Pickett comes in, looking like he might turn things around, gets a nice rushing touchdown. But then, he also has 3 interceptions, which Tyler almost is. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a good thing, but he actually had an interesting stat line. He threw 13 passes, none of them hit the ground. He was 10 for 13 with 3 interceptions. Um, I don't know. I
Wow.
obviously yeah, you don't hear that too often. I don't know. First NFL action, he came into a close game. They asked a lot of him. I don't know what you do if you're the Steelers. Like I think you might have to give Pickett another chance. let him learn the playbook a little bit more because Trubinsky, while he wasn't really doing a lot of bad things, he wasn't doing great things. Whereas Pickett, on both sides of the spectrum, like he was moving the needle, right? He scored some touchdowns. One of them was like a short field off of a turnover, but he led one decent drive. He's gonna have to clean up those turnovers. 3 picks against the New York Jets. It could probably can only get worse from there if he plays a good team, but I think he needs to get some more reps with that first team and see what he can do.
Jets also have one of the best run duos in the league with Brees Hall and Michael Carter for years to come, I should say. In the next year or two, I think they're probably going to have the best running offense if all stays the same. And they maybe add offensive linemen in the draft, but I think they're going to be a team to watch in the future if they've been drafting really well. I mean, that's unlike the
Mm-hmm.
Jets, but they're finally doing that. So it's again nice to see some parity in the league. These teams that have been cellar dwellers the past 10 plus years, finally coming out and winning some games and winning them on the road. I mean,
Yeah.
going to Pittsburgh isn't easy, but also with missing Big Ben, definitely missing TJ Watt. It's
Mm-hmm.
showing greatly with the Steelers team. Their defense just doesn't have that same spark without him. So
Yeah.
next game we got probably one of the better games of the week this week. Bills 23, Ravens 20 as the Bills come back from 20 down to kick a field goal and win the game against the Ravens. Bills are back though, Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off of a tough loss against the Dolphins last week. This was a game that they really needed to kind of spark that fire, I feel like, to ignite them back into that Super Bowl bound team that they think they're going to be this year. They played way better in the second half, obviously, than they did in the first. Some bad turnovers by Josh Allen. It was rainy there in Baltimore, but I think on the other end of the spectrum, the Ravens are a really tough team, and they're probably the best 2-2 team in the league, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that they're 2-2, honestly, but they're very good this year. I think they're just lacking, maybe that Hollywood Brown, that other guy that's going to help relieve Mark Andrews and also Lamar Jackson. Also, it raining, I feel like didn't help Lamar Jackson in the run game a lot. He's probably not going to run the ball that much. Don't want to tweak an ankle. It was good seeing J.K. Dobbins back.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect his workload to just increase exponentially throughout the next few weeks. I feel like they kind of eased him back into the offense because this Ravens run game, obviously one of the best in the league, has been for years. But my last point, will we see a rematch in the playoffs of these two? I think so.
Yeah.
I think Bill's probably going to be the ones that get the bye, and we might see them in the second round or even the AFC Championship, depending on how it plays out.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be tough now with only one bye. We'll get into it. Chiefs still look pretty dominant right now, so it's gonna be probably between those two if I had to guess for the AFC. But yeah, like you said, yeah, I mean, Poyer was back. You could tell they missed him. I want to say he had 2 interceptions, if I'm not
Definitely had one. I
mistaken.
saw
Yeah,
that.
a nice jump ball play. But yeah, no, two good teams. Ravens, like you said, probably the best 2-2 team. Lost to two of the top teams in the AFC right now. That division, it's going to be between them and the Bengals. So keep a close eye on that one. Next game, Chargers 34, Texans 24. Chargers get back on track. Eckler, they got him involved early and often. He looked pretty good after scoring no touchdowns through 3 weeks. Did he have three? I know he had at least two this game. Anyways, fantasy owners are finally, take a deep sigh of relief after that one. And I guess I just put Damon Pierce. I thought I was going to elaborate on that a little bit more, but I just had his name there. But really, that's all you need to know. He's been the one bright shining star of the Texans so far this season. He had himself a phenomenal game. He's going to be a good, fun young player to watch in this league. I don't know what to make of the Chargers right now, Tyler, because while they are 2-2, like their wins are over not so great teams. Yes, I am saying the Raiders are a not so great team, which men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. But yeah, Chargers. I don't know what they need to do. Obviously, big hits losing Bosa and Slater, but they're just gonna have to keep, I don't know, scoring 30 plus points, I think, to win football games.
Yeah, I mean Keenan Allen was also out this week too. That kind of hurt them a little bit, but Mike Williams stepped up. I mean, again, Austin, this is where I bring my point back to with the Titans. They were so successful last year by getting Eckler involved a lot of the game, and he hasn't been existent the past 3 weeks, I feel like.
Hmm.
And it's good to finally see him, come out and actually perform like Austin Eckler did last year. They need to get the run a game established. You can't throw the ball 60 times and hope it all works out, because that's kind of one dimensional. And I feel like this Chargers team is a little bit better than that. So I
Yeah.
think getting Eckler back into it, that's what's really going to help them moving forward. Next game we got Cardinals 26, Panthers 16. Austin Baker is officially the wide receiver one killer. I don't know if you
Mm.
saw all the memes, all the things on Instagram, but they're saying that Baker is the wide receiver one killer with DJ Moore and notoriously OBJ when they were playing in Cleveland. Um, I love Baker. I think he's a great guy. I think he's funny. He's fun to watch. He's a
Fun to
great
hang out with.
organization guy. I would drink a beer with him, get
Makes good
hammered with him.
commercials.
I would let him throw me through a table. I don't know, but I mean, like, he's not good
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about some guys, they're not in the right situation. Like, oh, what if he was on a different team, different coaching staff? He's had his opportunities, and he just hasn't really produced with them.
I would almost, well, I mean, I don't know. That's tough because I was almost gonna say I feel like he almost upgraded, but I
Mm,
feel like it's almost the same.
yeah.
You had Chubb, you had Hunt, now you have Christian McCaffrey. You had OBJ, you had Jarvis, now you have DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I mean, he's had weapons. There's
All
got
right.
to be a point where the Panthers have to say, or the NFL personnel has to say, this guy is a backup quarterback.
All right, let's play a fun little game real quick. It's
All
called
right,
Better or Worse. Baker Mayfield better or worse than Matt Ryan?
better.
Carson
Right
Wentz.
now, right
Carson
now.
Wentz.
Better. I hate Carson Wentz.
And then who's the other guy we were talking about?
Kirk Cousins.
Jared Goff.
Uh, I'd almost take Jared Goff.
Kirk Cousins.
I would take Kirk Cousins.
All right, so 2-2 for Baker. Yeah, again, not the worst quarterback in the NFL, but just not getting it done.
Yeah. And lastly, Cardinals. I said getting hot. But I meant to say the Cardinals are getting hot at the right time, right before Hopkins is scheduled to come back. I think he's coming back, if not next week, definitely week 6, right? Or is it week 7?
No, it's week 7. He had a 6-game suspension.
Week 7, 2 weeks to go without him. But I mean, they've won. How many games have they won in a row? 2 or 3, or did they lose last week? I think they lost last
I
week.
want to say, fuck, I don't know. I think they're 2-2.
Okay. One against the Raiders, obviously. We all know that. Beating the Panthers. Now they're going to spring into, probably going on a hot streak. But we got to watch out. Call of Duty comes out October 21st, I think. So,
Hmm.
it might all go downhill before that, before DeAndre Hopkins comes back. Who knows? But I think they're starting to look a little bit better. And also like the Cardinals team that we go know and are accepting of in the first half of the season. So I think they're getting hot. I
Yeah.
maybe call me wrong, but I think they're getting hot at the right time right now.
Yeah, they lost last week against the Rams. So they are 2-2. Lost to the Rams and the Chiefs.
Two tough
Two
teams.
pretty good teams. Shout out real quick, J.J. Watt. Definitely a hands down football guy of the week. He has atrial fibrillation, which I believe, and I'm no doctor, is when your heart kind of goes out of rhythm and causes an increased heart rate. I guess there's just an invasive procedure where you can just get it shocked back into rhythm, and no harm, no foul. He's going out there and playing 5 days later, so that's kind of crazy to see.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if there was any guy that could do that, it's a defensive end.
Yeah. JJ Watt. He's got to be that alpha guy. Like, oh, what? My heart can't stop me, and even if it does stop, I'll restart it and I'll be out there on Sunday. guy. I mean, I don't know. Like, I want to say like he's obviously been an injury prone player throughout his career, but I guess you can't question his toughness, because if he's out there playing through a heart condition, like shit, he can play through anything. Next game we got ugly game, Tyler. Packers 27, Patriots 24. Put RELAX for the Packers right now. A little ode to Aaron Rodgers in the past, where he's telling the Packers fans and everyone around the league, just relax. We'll figure it out. Packers are still figuring it out. Win's a win. I'm not gonna say I feel happy or proud about this win. Beating a Patriots team with their second and third string quarterback. But I saw some promise. I like what I'm seeing out of Romeo Doubs. He almost had that crazy, winning. I think they were tied at that point, right? Maybe, or they were down. No, they were down 7. Anyways, no, I don't know. Anyways, they almost had. I think that would have been the game-winning touchdown. That goes back probably to the Des Bryant rule of completing the catch through the contact with the ground. It looked like he secured it in, and then the ground, went down, caused the fumble. However, Aaron Rodgers still looks a little untrusting of the rest of his receivers. We saw Watson get a touchdown, which I think was technically a rushing play, and no more Sammy Watkins. They got Robert Tonyan involved, which I've been preaching. The running attack looks good. They got Bakhtiari back. I feel okay, Tyler. I think they can figure it out. This was definitely a must-win game that they came out on top. Patriots are just down bad. They're running through quarterbacks like, I don't even know. The California runs through avocados. Okay, that's the best analogy I could come up with on the spot.
Avocados and wine.
Yeah. Still haven't made it to Napa Valley, but I definitely intend to. I don't know what's going on right now, Belichick. I mean, every time you face them or, the Patriots are there, it's like, oh, they still got Belichick. Like, that, you got to worry about him. And, he did all he could in this game, almost came out on top, took it to overtime. But they're going to have to figure something out, especially without Mac Jones and without Hoyer, this third string guy. I don't know if he can be productive for him. He looked okay at times. Obviously, going into Lambeau, mid-game is a tough ask out of anyone. So we'll see what happens. But Packers 3-1, and I will take that because that's all I got this weekend. I think I'm going to go 0-4 in fantasy. So that was my only shining point.
I did agree with Aaron Rodgers, though, on his takeaway of the game, that the way that they're playing is not sustainable in terms of how they're winning games.
Yeah.
Which is true. I mean, it's good that he's realistic about it. I do feel, though, that like if the Packers continue the winning, though, I think OBJ's just got to go there at the end of the day, Austin. I mean, that's really it's really the only fit that would make sense, and I think he could actually just squeeze into wide receiver 1 there and just play football with one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I don't see why he hasn't done it yet. Maybe why are you waiting? Because it's gonna get cold when you sign there, so you might as well just ease into it right now. Plus, and I'm not just I may be like the salesman of the Packers right now. They have fucking cheese curds there.
Yeah.
OBJ, I know you're used to crawfish and fucking Creole, but put a fucking cheese curd in your mouth, my guy, and the whole world's gonna change.
I don't know. I might mess up his bowel movements. What he's got going on over there. It might be a little bit more.
I think I'm lactose intolerant. I just still shove my fucking face through cheese curds. Yeah. We just opened up a Culver's. Shout out Wisconsin. They got some of the best cheese curds. Next game we got the Raiders 32. The Pipsqueak Ponies 23. Austin, the Broncos trouble in paradise now. Losing Javonte Williams for the season. Randy Gregory, I think they confirmed out for 6 weeks at least. So both sides of the ball absolutely decimated after last game. Those are 2 big players that they had on their team. Randy Gregory signed a huge contract to them. Now,
wait, who got hurt? Who's out for the season?
Javonte Williams.
The running back?
Yes.
Oh shit. Guess Melvin Gordon's stock just went up, baby. Let's go.
Melvin Gordon also has the most fumbles in the league this year for any running back, so enjoy that. They're in trouble though, Austin. I mean, they play in one of the tougher divisions, on paper, but it's not looking good. And honestly, I could care less because I hate the Broncos. I always have, and it's good to see. Two takeaways. I only wrote down one for the Raiders, Austin. The first one isn't on here. The Raiders scored their first defensive touchdown in 3 years.
Wow.
I laughed out loud when I heard that because I just find that disgraceful, I guess you could say, but also hilarious. And then it was their first, I think it was first fumble for a touchdown since 2014.
Hmm.
So Raiders defense is back. But my last selling point, Raiders need to run the damn ball, and I've been saying this for weeks. I feel like, Austin, if not on the show, in person, they need to get Josh Jacobs the ball. Just like the Titans, just like we've been talking, when you run the ball, it disperses, gets guys open like Adams, like Waller. Waller wasn't really existent, but like Mac Hollins. I mean, you're getting guys open without having to force it in there, which they've been doing for the last 3 weeks. And I knew this was going to be the real reason why we won, is because Josh Jacobs finally got involved, had a monster day. It's great to see. And it's also great to see that our piss poor offensive line is actually pushing people around. So, I'm feeling great after this win, Austin. We needed it. I hate the Broncos, so it was even better. And next week we got the Chiefs Monday Night Football. I was talking a lot of shit to the Chiefs fans at the Bucks game last night, getting myself hyped up for it. On to Arrowhead.
Geez, both your team, 2 out of 3 of your teams got the Chiefs back to back. What are the Saints play them on the following week?
They might, honestly.
Yeah, I'm glad Josh Jacobs coming out party was when I was facing him in fantasy. I just love to see it. What do you have, 2 touchdowns?
He had two and just a hell of a lot of yards.
Fucking putting the ball in the end zone like Antonio Brown was putting his ass in that lady's face.
And his dick.
Very weird, very weird. I don't know if we want to get into that, but last night's game, Tyler, I think you and I both had a bulletin point here. I'll start with mine. Don't forget about Mahomes. Everyone wants to talk about Josh Allen, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts. It's like, did we just forget about Patrick Mahomes? Like, this dude's still clearly one of the top, if not the top quarterbacks in the league. He just goes out there, Tyler. He makes it look so effortless. And, he just loves slinging the ball to everyone except Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, literally, they put up 41 points and Juju still had, like, 9 PPR points in fantasy. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes, I was at this game last night. Austin got free tickets. Shout out Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
Shout out Mike
Got
Evans.
Yeah, fuck you. He scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But Mahomes is absolutely incredible to watch in person. We were talking about this on the show or pre-show. My reaction to the game. He's just incredible to watch. But I also feel like a lot of teams they scheme well defensively, but then they don't really do it in the game. And this is where my bulletin point comes up. Bucks D needs to step up. They've been lackluster the past 2 weeks, and they've lost both of those games. For instance, there was a bunch of different plays where Mahomes was running out of the pocket, great pressure from the defensive lineman, but then you have your guy Devin White, who's on Travis Kelce, coming to try and destroy Patrick Mahomes, and then Mahomes does the little sidearm pass for Kelce for the score. It's like, I've seen this over and over again because the Raiders notoriously do it every single year against the Chiefs, where they're keying on Kelce and then they let it go because they want to tackle Mahomes. They don't trust their secondary to take up that space and hopefully stop Mahomes. You gotta stay with Kelce at the end of the day. I mean, the
Hmm.
guy is phenomenal. They're very patient. They're very methodical with their offense. I feel like that has a lot to do with Andy Reid and Ben-Ami, but it's just, if you're a defense, you got to see it coming. Now the
Hmm.
play to CEH probably didn't see that coming, right?
Right.
The fucking jump shot pass in the air, like what the fuck was that? But they still going forward, the Bucks D really needs to step up, or this team's gonna go into hell or high water pretty fast because they got one of the toughest schedules in the league.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think they should still be able to win the division. Putting up 31 points against the Chiefs,
Last touchdown was a fucking garbage time.
still not too bad. I think they'll figure it out. Speaking of Andy Reid, though, you see that new commercial? I think it's State Farm where he's on the plane drawing mustaches on people.
No, I didn't. You'll have to send me it.
That's one of my that's one of my favorite new commercials. That's pretty funny. Um, Monday night predictions, Tyler. You and I both had the Niners. I don't know if you have the game up right there, what the live score is.
It's on commercial, but I think the last thing I saw was 24-9. It's all
Hmm.
Niners this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I had my concerns about the Rams going into the season. That lose Von Miller. I think they lost someone else over there to injury. Just not getting the job done. They haven't really found a role for Allen Robinson. Cooper Kupp hasn't been the guy, which, like,
No, Cooper Kupp has been the guy.
well, he hasn't been the guy because it's hard to repeat the best statistical season, as a wide receiver in history.
I still feel like he's been the guy on the Rams.
Well, fuck, they better put him at quarterback or something because they're not getting the job done right now. Niners, McVay, or should say Shanahan is usually McVay's kryptonite during the regular season. I'm not too worried about the Rams. Debo, he kind of came
Guy's
alive, right? He
unreal.
had a crazy Debo-esque play in the
Almost had
first
a
half.
second Debo-esque play just like 10 minutes ago.
Shit. Well, clearly they got to get him more involved. Kittle, I don't think he had a touchdown catch earlier, right? But just I don't know.
They called it back.
Oh yeah, they call it back, right? So
Yeah.
didn't even catch a touchdown. They got to get him more involved. They're just kind of
24-9
they're kind of banged
Niners.
up right now, Tyler. Obviously with Mitchell, that run game's kind of been subpar, but
Well, both teams are
probably a
banged
couple
up. I
playoff
mean,
teams right here if I had to guess.
yeah, Rams missing a lot of guys on the line, obviously not only due to retirement but injuries this season. A lot of those guys have been injured. They're kind of putting in guys that they wouldn't expect to put in as starters. Stafford has 3 interceptions tonight.
Oh,
Almost had 4. And also the Niners are just pressuring the shit out of him. He can't even step back into the pocket, come back forward without one of the Niners in his face. So, Niners are playing an excellent game all around, offensively and defensively. I picked the Niners originally, and I picked them, I think, on last Wednesday because statistically, I think over the last 4 or 5 meetings, the Niners have beat the Rams when it's at home.
hmm.
So kind of an easy pick for me. I think the Niners are always playing well against the Rams at home. They always carry out the beatbox, fucking playing Kodak Black, Debo Samuel going ham. And once again, beatbox out, Debo Samuel goes off. That's exactly what happened tonight.
Yeah, Tyler, just looking at it right now, I'm almost glad that the San Francisco defense has been playing as well as it did tonight. Now I can sleep a little bit easier. It wouldn't have mattered if I had started Dobbins in the flex over Juju. I still would have lost. So it's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Can't blame yourself for that one. Just wouldn't have won either
Well, you
way.
could trade J.K. Dobbins to me. I'd appreciate it.
I'm open. I'm open to.
I'm waiting for the Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean the only
Yeah,
thing that
there
would
it
make
is.
the only
There it
thing
is.
no, I don't even need a wide receiver. The only thing that would make sense is like a 2-for-1 running back, but I don't even know if I want Delvin Cook at this point.
I wouldn't trade you Dalvin Cook for J.K. Dobbins.
Well, no, I'd do like Dobbins and Penny for Cook.
I consider that.
Yeah, but like I
I would
said,
consider that.
I mean, if Dobbins, if that,
Why not a 2 for 2? Dalvin Cook and someone else for, Penny and
yeah. Well,
Dobbins.
we'll talk shop later on throughout the
Gotcha.
week.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't know. Not the good teams are winning games and the bad teams are losing. I feel like Lions go down, Steelers are bad, Packers win. You'll probably put an asterisk next to the Raiders, but
Awesome. Actually, you know it's back, baby. Basketball's back.
Oh yeah,
Preseason started.
Ben
I know we
Simmons
got
looking like the GOAT.
I know we got 5 minutes left, but Ben Simmons got his first points as a Nets player after being on the Nets for 2 years. Um, Kind of exciting against his old team, but
Yeah, I mean, I
oh,
guess
and also say what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say, as a Nets fan, I guess that's, you have to have optimism about him at this point, right?
Absolutely. Uh, Also, Austin, I don't know if you saw, but the Phoenix Suns lost to was it an Australian team?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
They lost to an NBL team.
Hmm.
I knew maybe it was New Zealand, something like that. The 36ers in preseason. That's the second time that's ever happened. The last time was when the Thunder back in
36ers.
2016 played Luka Doncic when he
Hmm.
was in Europe.
I mean,
Fun fact.
was
I didn't know that until I
Booker
found
was
it today.
Booker and Aiton
All the
and
starters were playing.
well,
Isn't
that
that crazy?
that's a bad look.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
the Suns are down bad right now.
Mm. You hate to see it. I mean, shit. That I guess Bezos might be reconsidering his purchase of the team after that one.
I mean, listen. Oh yeah, that's right. The owner of the Suns just had to sell. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I just signed DeAndre Ayton to that huge contract, and I lose to a fucking NBL team. I'm reconsidering that whole entire situation. I might sell the damn team myself. Yeah,
Yeah. Did KD play or like what? He's like back on the team
he's
technically, right?
back. Yeah, he's back. I don't think he played. I don't think he played tonight. Kyrie and Ben Simmons did. They pretty much had everybody besides Kevin Durant when I was watching highlights. I didn't watch any of the game. I saw some highlights. So I mean, it's an exciting time of year. We're starting to get back into that. NFL's here, college football's here. Penn State's in the top 10, by the way. For now until they fucking blow out in the next 3 weeks to fucking Ohio State and Halloween like they do every single fucking year.
Well,
And then baseball's about to get into the postseason. You know, the Rays might face the Yankees. I might be able to catch a playoff game. I mean, it's just that time of year. Things are
mm,
looking up.
yeah. I mean, yeah, this is that time of year coming up where like basketball's back, and I think we get hockey back towards
Oh
the
yeah,
tail end of
hockey
it, and
shit.
it's like all four major sports leagues are playing at the same time. It's just the weather, we get that crisp air. I don't know what it's like down in Florida
No,
besides
it was beautiful today.
hurricanes.
It was in the 80s, but no humidity, so it felt incredible. The wind was blowing just a little bit. Oof.
Mm. Yeah, this is typical Cali vibe weather. I wore sweats and a beanie to work with a t-shirt on, so I'm settling right in.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a fast-paced fall. That was my alliteration of the day.
Mm.
And I'm excited for it. I mean, Penn State's got a bye this week. Then they got Michigan. Then they got another bye. Then they got Ohio State. So the next 4 weeks of college football are fucking crazy for me. Raiders got Chiefs on Monday night. I'm probably gonna have to fucking keep my eyes glued to the TV while I'm doing the podcast next week. Nets are back. Yankees are back. Judge is gonna break Maris's record. Hopefully. I mean, it's
Hopefully. How
I
many
love
how many
sports
more
right now.
regular season games are there? He needs to hit 62, right, to break it.
I think there's one game or he needs one home run to break the record, right?
Mm.
I think they're facing the Rangers right now. And then the last game
Just saw the Rangers play against the Angels.
I saw the Rangers play against the Rays. That's crazy.
No fooling.
Yeah, so they have 3 games left. So they have tomorrow, a doubleheader, and then Wednesday's their last game of the season.
Mm. What do we think? Does he get it or not?
I think he has to. I
Yeah.
mean, he's here if he does like they. I feel like the MLB is gonna put out an email that says only fastballs to Judge. I don't care if they're in the zone, out of the zone. This is good for ratings.
I mean, shit. I feel like it's probably the best home run year, at least record wise, we've had in a while, right? Pujols getting 700. Judge is going to break a bunch of single season records. I mean, probably since the steroid era where you had, Sosa, McGuire, and Bonds. Bonds just smashing them into the parking lot.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing for this season with baseball is that the home runs. I mean, you hadn't seen this pace out of Judge, I should say, individually since 2003 or 4 when Bonds was doing it. Even like the OPS and the slugging percentage, like all of what Aaron Judge is doing right now is statistically probably the best individual season in all of baseball in
Mm.
history. So we're witnessing something that's never been witnessed before. He's more than likely going to win the MVP, which it couldn't happen to a better guy, right? Great backstory. He was adopted. He's a man of God. He's just a guy that, would help a stranger across the street in New York City. I mean, he's a great guy, at the end of the day. And
Right.
that's what you like to see is good things happen to good people.
Yeah, and obviously, like his last name is like great for a superstar, right? You get all the fans out there wearing the wigs and looking like they're an old member of, I don't know. I
Society.
want to say Parliament. I don't know if that.
That's accurate.
Yeah, that just sound like an old timey type of
Shout
word.
out Mr. Renner for that history lesson.
Yeah, shout out. All right, yeah, no, clearly some good stuff going on in the MLB to get the No Look podcast to talk about baseball for more than 2 seconds.
Yeah. And then, next thing you know, we'll be talking about hockey.
There you go.
Hey,
Rangers year. All right. That's all I got. Monday Night Gaming coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
go Raiders.
Go Pack Go.